My name is Shane Golub. I'm a Customer Solution Advisor with SAP, and this is my demo of the make-to-order manufacturing process using SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. This is the standard SAP disclaimer. Note, I have used some non-standard shortcuts in this demo to improve the process flow. This demo starts with a sales employee who will create a sales order and use advanced available to promise aATP to check the lead time and available capacity in order to get an accurate delivery confirmation of the date for the customer. We'll then move on to the materials planner who will create the production order and use MRP intelligent material simulations to try and resolve a material shortage. This will result in a change request where purchasing will carry out the approval and follow up with a goods receipt. The production planner will then take over to evaluate the capacity and schedule the production order. This is followed by the assembly operator who will use his mobile tablet to review a 3D animated work instruction using a link to SAP's Visual Enterprise viewer and then confirm the operation as completed, including backflushing the materials consumed. The next operation is for the final inspection and is completed by the quality technician, including the inspection results recording. This is handed over to the quality engineer who will make a usage decision and move the stock from quality inspection to unrestricted use and inform sales using Microsoft Teams. Sales then checks the progress of the order and analyzes the production costs. They then release the outbound delivery to stores for the stores operator to pick the product and post the goods issue, as well as producing a dispatch note. Finally, the sales employee creates the sales invoice and uses the embedded analytics to review the profitability of the order. So let's start with the sales employee and the creation of the sales order. We start from our home page and scroll down to our favorite apps. The sales employee goes to the app Manage Sales Orders. And then creates a new sales order. The customer selected is Harrier Bikes. Enters a customer reference and chooses a delivery date of the 7th of March. Now he enters a product, which is our make-to-order R13 bike with a quantity of 1. He then checks the availability, which triggers the ATP check. And we can see that it's come back with a delivery date of the 8th of March as opposed to the 7th. Let's see why. We click on the details. We can see the two confirmations here. We click on intermediate results. We can see the yellow warning that says that there is an alternative delivery date proposed. Let's check the 7th first to see what the reason is. We can see the lead time's okay. It gives a material availability date of the 28th. So there's possibly a capacity issue. Let's go back. And let's click on this icon here to look at the details of the capacity product allocation check. And then show the details. Here we can see the capacity is fully allocated for the 28th, and this system has looked forward and proposed a new date for the 29th. Now there is some available capacity on the 26th. We'll come back to that when we do the scheduling. If we now look at the proposed delivery date of the 8th, and we can see the total lead time here, and the material availability date now is the 29th, which MRP will be using. And it will follow these steps of picking transportation planning, loading, transportation and unloading with the 8th of March for the end of transportation. You can see the details here in tabular format. Let's go back. and let's save the order. If we go back to the list of orders, and click on the sales order from here, and go to track sales order details, we can see the process flow. Currently only has one extra step for the planned delivery, but as we progress through this process, we'll add additional steps throughout this process. So we've created the order and checked the lead time. Let's move on now to the next step, where we want to have the materials planner create a production order and resolve any material shortages together with aligning with the purchasing department. The material planner starts by checking the material coverages for the make to order R13 bike. Enters the material number and it's for plant 1710. Clicks OK. And here he sees that there is an MTO requirement here for our customer order for delivery on the 28th, which is the day before the 29th, where we want to do the actual material availability. Let's start an MRP run. And he creates a planned order for us. We can now convert this planned order to a production order. And accept OK. And here we have a production order. And if we look at the production order details, we can see the relationship to the customer and the sales documents. We quickly go back to the sales order and look at the process flow again and track sales order details. We can see that the production order now has been created in relationship to the sales order. Let's go back and allow the material planner to review the production order. So go to manage production orders, find our order number, and in this case, let's release the order. So this has given us a warning because we have got a material shortage, and we can see this dictated by this icon here, this red icon. If I click on the details and review the actual production order, we can see we've got a missing component here. We go down to the components, we can see we've got 3 missing frames. Before we resolve this, let's look at the order schedule, and we can see that we've got an assembly and a final inspection process, and Material Planner can see the sequence of these processes as well. So the Material Planner goes back to the components and can see that we've got uncovered requirements for the frames. So you can resolve this by clicking on the shortcut to go to Manage Material Coverages. Here you can see the shortage for the requirement with the -3 here. If you select this and hovers over the top here, you can see that we can click to solve the shortage using intelligent simulations. And the system proposes 3 different options. We try this top one here with 2-star simulation to create a new purchase order. It doesn't resolve the shortage here due to the lead time for creating a new purchase order. So let's cancel this and try the 3-star simulation where we take an existing PO and we bring it in by 7 days. We simulate that one. Now we see the shortage has been resolved. So let's apply this and allow the material planner to request a change to the purchasing department to contact the supplier. So now that change request has been proposed, let's actually switch to the purchasing role and check our MRP change request inbox. So purchasing, click on this inbox here, and they can see the change request, and they can have a look at the details of this existing order. Now this can be sent directly to the supplier via EDI or through the SAP Business Network. But in this case, let's assume we've made the communication directly with the supplier and they've accepted the request. So let's change the actual delivery date of the order and resolve the shortage. Our production planner then goes to manage production orders to review our order, finds our production order, and if we check availability again, you can see that we no longer have any components missing. If I go to the details and go to components again, you can see we don't have a shortage anymore, but we have one missing on hand. So let's actually go to post goods receipts for purchasing documents and goods receipt, that purchase order for the missing quantity. And we'll receipt the entire quantity into stock. And now the goods receipt has been done, so the stock should be resolved. If the material planner goes back to manage production orders now, and finds our order. Now if we check the details and go to the components, we can see it's all green now. All 3 pieces are available in stock, ready to be issued. Now that the material planner has created the production order and resolved all the material shortages with help from purchasing, he hands over to the production planner. The production planner will evaluate the work center utilization for capacity issues and reschedule the production accordingly. First, the production planner will evaluate the overall capacity for the R13 bike. He first looks at the entire work center group and it looks okay. So let's filter this by work center. Now we can see on the assembly work center that there are some overcapacity issues in red here. If we look at the 26, that's over by 6.25%. And if we click on the details, we can see that our production order operation is also creating some of this overload. So we need to try and resolve this capacity issue. Let's go back to the menu. And the production planner can go and have a look at the monitor for the production orders. Find our order again. Here we can see the milestones that will take us to the details of each operation, but we can see also here that the orders linked to Harrier bikes. You see the orders released and the utilization for the 2 work centers for assembly and inspection. If we drill on the assembly work center and look for the R13 capacity filter, and then drill down on the utilization for the assembly work center. Here we see the day-to-day work center utilization. And if we look at the 26 and view the operations, where we've got the overload, you can see that our production operation for our particular production order is creating part of this overload. We could reschedule it from here by going to edit mode, but let's not do that. The production planner is going to decide to use our capacity planning scheduling board. So it goes to the capacity scheduling board. And it's pre-filtered on the pacemaker work center, so we'll just open it up to look at both of our work centers, the assembly and inspection. Let's add the order ID and product ID onto the chart. And let's zoom in on the details to find our particular production order in the operations. We just open up the assembly. And there's our order here on the 26th that's been planned. If I click on the order details, we can see the relationship between the operation for assembly and the operation for inspection happening all on the 26th. Let's just filter on the pacemaker work center now and select it. And we can go to schedule production. This will show us our 2 orders that's creating this overload. Let's select these and then set the scheduling strategy and the planning mode to bucketed or sequence. They choose finite capacity for find a slot, and the direction forwards or backwards, we choose forwards, and click OK. Now to speed up time, what we're actually going to do, the production planner is going to go back and make the change manually on the Gantt chart. So let's go back. Allow the production planner to find the order again. Here it is there. And this time we're going to manage operations. So here we can see a view of all the operations and available capacity marked in green. Let's just zoom in and find our operation. And it's there on the 26th above. And we want to move it to the 23rd where we've got available capacity on the Friday. So I can click the operation here for our particular order, select the 23rd and click on dispatch. And that will move the entire operation to the 23rd. Here it is now on the 23rd. If we go back to the Gantt chart, again find our order by zooming in. And here it is on the 23rd. And if I select it and look at the order details, we can see that the attached inspection operation is also sequenced to go in with the assembly. Now let's look at the capacity again by going to Manage Work Center Capacity. And if I look at the utilization, we can see that 26 now is not overloaded. And if we look at the 23rd, where we've got our new plan, and we'll drill down on details, and we can see that our particular operation is now scheduled to be actioned on the 23rd, and it's dispatched. So the production planner has evaluated capacity and rescheduled production. Now the assembly operator is going to execute the first operation and view some visual work instructions. The assembly operator is going to use a mobile tablet to execute the assembly and use a link to the SAP Visual Enterprise model to see an animated work instruction. Note some custom shortcuts are used in this part of the demo. So from the tablet device, the assembly operator goes into monitor production orders. They find their order and drill down into manage orders. Now in the milestone tab, we can see the two operations and the orders released. Now from here, they can use a shortcut to go to the material info and access a work instruction attachment document. They click on the bike work instructions, it will take them to the viewer for the Visual Enterprise viewer. And here we've got the 3D work instruction model, and beneath are some individual steps that can be followed to view the different work instruction steps. And you can follow through each of these steps one by one to visualize the steps required to carry out the assembly or disassembly of, in this case, the pedal of the particular bike. Now you can have different groups of work instructions, and you can follow through each of these steps as needs be. Click on the top level here, we can see we've got a pedal disassembly and a pedal assembly instructions, and each of the individual steps to follow. Let's go back now. We'll go back to our manage orders screen. And let's now actually do the confirmation of the assembly operation. Let's click on confirm operations for our particular assembly op. We've got all the defaults set up here, a yield of 1 and all the materials that need to be backflushed, as well as the activities for labor and machine time. And all the assembly operator has to do is post and complete. If you go back to the manage order screen, we can see the status for this operation is fully confirmed. So the assembly operator has now finished his assembly operation and viewed his work instructions. Let's move on to the next operation, where we have a quality technician who's going to carry out the inspection, record some inspection results. And then he passes on to the quality engineer, who's going to make a usage decision and move the inspection stock from quality to unrestricted stock. The quality technician is on the tablet device as well. He selects the inspection operation, and this time he goes to record the results for the inspection point. There's our inspection log at the bottom of the list here. and you can click on the details, and he's got one inspection point here for the final inspection, and he will start the recording of the results. Now, there's three characteristics that need to be recorded. First, he carries out a visual inspection, and he can say that it's all okay. Then he needs to enter the battery charging capability of how long it's going to take, and it has to be a value between 2 and 6, with 4 hours being the average or target value. And let's assume that he's entered the 4 hours. And the final entry is for the battery range, which has to be between 80 and 120 miles. And let's select 120 miles for this bike. And then he accepts the evaluation and saves the result. Further inspections can be carried out, but let's just go with this one. And then confirm the operation for the inspection. Just into our order number again. We'll accept the default quantities and times and post the values. Now we can see that the order has been completed and finished. The only step outstanding is the goods receipt. So from here we can do a post goods receipt as well. This time we'll scan a barcode of the bike, again using our iPad. We'll allow the camera, scan a QR code and bring the production order details onto the screen. He then has to choose a storage location and selects the default location of 171A and puts the product into quality inspection. You can also print a label for the product here, and the last step is just to click on post. Now the product has been posted to the inventory and it's sitting in quality inspection. So let's move to the quality engineer. He goes to the quality engineer's overview, and he sees that there are 4 inspection lots ready for usage decision. This is our inspection lot here, and we could make a quick usage decision to confirm that the product is fine. So the next step is going to be moving the stock from quality inspection into unrestricted stock. So again, with the quality engineer, it's going to go into the stock screen, call up our product, and here we can see that the in blue is the on hand for customer specific stock. And if he goes into the details here, he can see that the stock for our order is currently in quality inspection, and we need to move it to unrestricted. So let's go back, and you can select transfer stock in plant. Select the stock in quality and look for the customer sales order stock, and then select where it's going to go to unrestricted. There's only one that needs to be transferred, and click on post. And now if we go back into the stock single material screen, which is the header screen, and again in blue, highlighted or hidden, is the sales order customer stock, If I go into the details here, you can see that our stock is available in unrestricted stock. Now let's share this with the sales employee within Microsoft Teams. And here we can send a message to sales to say that the stock is available. And then choose the person or the channel or group. We'll just send it to a channel. Now that message has been sent to sales, ready for them to action. So now the quality has been completed. Let's move on to the sales employee in conjunction with the stores. And the sales employee will review the production order costs and then initiate the outbound delivery in order for the stores operator to pick the product and post the goods issue, as well as print the dispatch note. Starting off from Microsoft Teams, the sales employee clicks on the message from quality, and they can see the embedded screen that was shared by the quality engineer. And they can view all the details related to the S4HANA details for that stock and the available quantity. They can firstly just respond to the message. Then they can go back to the live embedded S4HANA screen. And then directly from this screen, they can click on the sales order within Microsoft Teams and follow the link to track sales order details. It shows that the production order has been delivered, and if they want, they can click on the details here and look at the production costs. You can see we've got quite a bit of variance here, $209. So let's go and look at the details and see why. We've got a planned cost here of $258 with some actuals and some variances. And you can see that there's zero posted on some of our personnel, machine time and setup costs to create this variance, possibly that the rates weren't put in correctly. But as we're going to use standard costing, the planned costs here will be used for the cost of sale. So let's go back. And we can see that the delivery is due. Let's initiate this delivery by selecting the item and creating a delivery. So this creates an outbound delivery ready for picking. In this case, we're going to assume the process of initiating a pick from here by going to pick outbound delivery. And let's say this is a picking request to stores. So we'll put in the actual goods issue. We'll say the quantity that we want to pick. And then click on save. And this has produced a pick list for the stores operator. So let's view the delivery output and go and have a look at the pick list. And assume that this has been printed in the stores, and they can go and carry on with the picking of the product and getting it ready. And then once that's been done, they can post the goods issue to acknowledge that the product has been issued. In the background, also a delivery note will get printed. Let's go and have a look at this. And there we have a delivery note. And if we go back to the overall process flow, we see the next step is to print the invoice as the shipping has been completely done. So now the costs have been reviewed and dispatching has taken place, the sales employee will complete the process. And they can do this by creating a sales invoice, and then they're going to use the embedded analytics to look at the profitability of the sales order. So again, from the process flow, we can click on the invoicing due today and then select create invoice. So the invoice has been produced and either has been sent electronically or printed. We can click on the invoice details here and go to manage billing documents. We can see the invoice details here for the $300. We click on the preview and we can see an output of the invoice document. There's also a process flow here from the invoice point of view, and the last step to be done is the accounting journal for receiving the payment. So that's the overall process, although there's still an outstanding step for the journal entry. We won't be doing that in this process flow. So let's go and have a look at the profitability of this order. From the home page, the sales operator can scroll down to some of the embedded analytics, and he has one here for the profit margin. Let's click on February. And let's just change the currency to US dollars to be the same as the sales order. And then change the selection to look at sold to party for the customer. And now let's select Harrier Bikes and look at the billing documents. This invoice is our invoice here. You can see the $300 and the profit margin of 41.78. Let's add some extra fields. So the sales employee can go in and add, for example, the net sales cost and maybe the profit margin ratio as well. Click on OK. And then for our invoice, not only can we see the sales value, but we can see the cost of sale and the 14% profit margin. So in summary for this demo, we started with the sales employee creating a sales order and using advanced available to promise to check the lead time and the available capacity. We then moved on to the material planner who created the production order and used the MRP to resolve a material shortage. This resulted in a change request, where purchasing carried out an approval and followed up the goods receipt. The production planner then evaluated the capacity and scheduled the production order. Then on the shop floor, the assembly operator used his mobile tablet and reviewed 3D work instructions using SAP Visual Enterprise, and then confirmed the operation is completed, including backflushing the materials consumed. Then the quality technician recorded inspection results and confirmed the inspection operation. This was handed over to the quality engineer who made a usage decision and moved the stock from quality inspection to unrestricted and used Microsoft Teams to inform sales. Sales then checked progress of the order and analyzed the production costs, then creating the outbound delivery to stores for the stores operator to pick the product and post the goods issue, as well as producing the dispatch note. Finally, the sales employee created the sales invoice and used the embedded analytics to review the profitability of the order.